One of my favourite games of all time is Age of Empires 2: The Age of Kings. In fact, I still have the original box from 1999. And thanks to the Definitive Edition released in 2019, this game is a relic that's still generating gold. See what I did there? The Definitive Edition includes so many quality of life improvements, not to mention the hugely improved graphics, it makes the original virtually unplayable these days. However, there is one thing that the Definitive Edition sadly didn't include, and that should, in my view anyway, make you want to pop your CD drive and revert to the old school version. I'm referring, with nostalgia-tinted glasses, to the original intro video. It featured two kings playing a game of chess that was then mirrored in real life, and it contained a brilliant subtle detail that I didn't fully appreciate until much later in life. The pieces they're using are based on a real medieval chess set. Here's a mock-up I did, using 3D models of the real artefacts. And this isn't any old chess set, this is one of the finest and most distinctive collections of artefacts ever discovered. They're known as the Lewis Chessmen, a collection of 79 intricately carved ivory chess playing pieces that date from the 12th century. There's kings, queens, bishops, knights, men-at-arms, berserkers, and pawns. Practically every level of medieval society is represented, and they're all fighting it out in a medieval wargame. Nice analogy. And because this is Age of Empires, you can get insane scenarios like the Celts taking on the Aztecs in Arabia. Nice. And the Lewis Chessmen tell a pretty interesting story themselves. They were discovered on the Scottish island of Lewis, hence their name, sometime in 1831, but exactly when and by whom is a mystery. There's even a story of them being accidentally uncovered by a cow. They date from the 12th century and were probably made in Norway, but seeing as they were discovered out of context, possibly by a cow, how do we even know that? The date was worked out by looking at the way the bishops are wearing their mitres. By 1150 it was established practice that bishops wore them pointing forwards. Previously they were worn side on, like this. That is so 1149. All of the bishops from the Lewis Chessmen wear their mitres in the same way. Therefore they're dated to the mid-12th century. Stylistically, if you look at the back of some of the figurines, the carvings are typically Scandinavian. And there's also a merging of old pagan, like this berserker, and newer Christian themes, just as Norway in the 12th century represented a crossroads of both of these cultures. The figures are a masterpiece of craftsmanship. They're all made from walrus tusk, a rare and extremely expensive commodity in the Middle Ages. The carving is so intricate that it's difficult to replicate it even using modern tools, let alone medieval ones. Walrus tusk has a root canal void inside, which limits what can be made without splitting or cracking the material. So the medieval craftsmen have carefully designed and selected what section of walrus ivory was to be used for which piece, and at the same time they created solid, bottom-heavy chess pieces that were designed to be used, not just to look at. So, coming back to one of the greatest strategy games ever made that still has an active player base, even though it was first released last century, what a fine idea it was to include a small homage to the medieval world that inspired the game. So, with that said, it's time to pop in the CD, configure the compatibility, dedicate a whopping 349.5 megabytes for the full install, enjoy the antiquated progress bar, and fire up the original game, just so you can admire the Lewis Chessmen's cameo in the opening video. Or you could just, look it up on YouTube.